Immortal Hero plus Sect Apprentice plus System plus Invincible plus Xuanhuan plus Single Female Lead, Jiang Yuan unexpectedly traveled to the world of cultivation, awakening the strongest sect system and the Wind Spirit Moon Shadow Spirit Root. With a single thought, we achieved the literal meaning of invincibility, infinite spirit stone, infinite spirit power, infinite health, infinite spirit strength. What about the Immortal Emperor? Can you move the infinite health bar? Seize and give up. Let's take a look at the infinite divine soul.Lingshi. Not much, we can barely make it 2.1 billion. Previously, now is now. Is it open when it's open? Can the matter of cultivating immortals be called open? Even if I do, setting aside the facts, will the enemy have no mistakes? He didn't force me to drive it yet. JPG The dull and boring life of cultivating immortals through cheating can only be made a living by taking in apprentices and teasing junior sisters. Chapter 1. Immortals in the Mountains. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. In the southern region, Fengzhou, Qingyun Mountain. Wuya Peak. Dong dong dong. Dong dong dong. Come out, junior brother Jiang. I know you're inside. Why don't you come out and plant herbs today? A few senior brothers have rare time to gather today, so you're blocking us outside. You're a bit arrogant, right? Dong dong dong. Dong dong dong. The wooden door kept making a creaking sound as it was knocked, as if it would break unstoppably in the next second. Jiang Yuan looked coldly at the wooden door, ignoring the clamor coming from outside. He held the spirit stone in his left hand and the formation plate in his right hand, sitting motionless on the cushion. Senior brother, we. A young woman who looked 15 or 16 years old curled up behind Jiang Yuan. She was wearing a simple purple Taoist robe, with a fair oval face, beautiful facial features, and a slightly slender figure. This is Jiang Yuan's junior sister, named Ran. They are currently the only two disciples of Wuya Peak. Junior sister, don't be afraid. They're just talking and don't dare to make mistakes, Jiang Yuan comforted in a low voice. The wooden door was hit again, and the light of the formation flashed away. The spirit stone in Jiang Yuan's left hand turned into fragments. But his face remained unchanged, and he took out the spirit stone from the receiving ring, providing spiritual power to the formation. If Master were still here, he would definitely teach these villains a hard lesson, and Ran gritted his teeth and whispered. Upon hearing her junior sister mention her master again, Jiang Yuan's face also showed a hint of sadness and he let out a long sigh. He could never have imagined that this cultivation sect would also suffer from the extinction of the family. There are immortals in the mountains, and the immortals established their sect on Qingyun Mountain, named Qingyun Sect. Afterwards, several peaks were opened up, and their master, Master Wuya, was the leader of Wuya Peak. Jiang Yuan was born through the womb, and he had already figured out the mystery of the womb. At the age of 3, he could draw, at the age of 4, he could recite poetry, and at the age of 5, he could talk to his elders about the past and present, and guide the world. He is known as the River City. At the age of 6, when Master Wuya was traveling around the world, he heard rumors and came with the intention of being a disciple to test Jiang Yuan's qualifications. However, after touching his bones and examining his spiritual roots, he found that Jiang Yuan was a mortal child of the body, and his qualifications were only ordinary 5 spiritual roots. This surprised Master Wuya. How could he awaken the wisdom of his past life without the ability to reincarnate and possess extraordinary abilities? Master Wuya thought that Jiang Yuan was originally the heavenly spirit root, but the heavenly spirit root was self-hidden. Therefore, he used the 5 spirit roots to showcase himself to the public. With just some means to activate the spirit roots, Jiang Yuan could transform from a stubborn stone into a jade. So Master Wuya took Jiang Yuan as his disciple and brought him to the Immortal Sect. He used various methods recorded in ancient books to try to inspire Jiang Yuan, soak in medicinal baths, take pills, observe sword intentions, gnaw on the spiritual roots of heaven and earth, deal with life and death crises, study the spirit gathering formation, and recruit junior sisters. But none of these ultimately activated Jiang Yuan's heavenly spirit root, and the entire sect knew that the genius, who brought the heavenly spirit root 10 years ago, was ultimately just a waste. Master Wuya couldn't hold back his pride, so he sealed off the mountain and no longer accepted his apprentices. However, after 10 years of getting along, he still had some feelings and didn't drive Jiang Yuan out of the mountain gate. Instead, he cultivated a little junior sister with 4 spiritual roots. 2 more years later, Master Wuya suffered serious injuries while defending his sect against the sudden attack of the demon sect, damaging his foundation. After that, when Master Wuya attempted to break through the Yuaning, he failed to survive the thunder disaster and died. Wuya Peak has no peak master anymore, only 2 disciples in the Qi refining period. Other peak leaders coveted the resources of Wuya Peak, but it was difficult for the sect leader to directly attack them without speaking up. Therefore, they used some vulgar means to try to force the senior siblings away. After 2 years, it has come to this day. Bang. The wooden door shattered with a loud bang. Jiang Yuan's face was like golden paper, spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood. 2 or 3 cultivators dressed in Qingyun sect disciple uniforms swaggered into the wooden house. "Yo, junior brother Jiang, so you're here. I always thought you weren't there," the leader said provocatively. His name was Wenzi, and he was the chief disciple of the neighboring Tianqiong Peak. "You are not allowed to approach my senior brother," and Ran took out a short knife and stood in front of Jiang Yuan, his tone trembling, gritting his teeth. Jiang Yuan's expression was once again gloomy. Yes, although he was a nominal senior brother, his realm was lower. He is 20 this year and has 3 layers of gas refining. And her junior sister is already on the 7th level of Qi refining at the age of 16 this year. I really wish I had wiped my neck and reincarnated into the next life with my useless qualifications. But crossing the other world ended in such a gloomy ending, and there were also some unwillingness. Yo, sister N is going to take action. It's just that we happen to have broken through the foundation construction period a few years ago, and some of us used big things to bully small things. Wenzi laughed heartily. No, boss. Junior brother Jiang is a famous genius from afar. When we fight him, it can be considered as his guidance to us. The realm of refining Qi into 3 layers is so terrifying. Another person followed in the yin-yang strange airway. Wenzi and his group laughed heartily. The sect prohibits private fights, but the senior brothers have figured out how to explain to the sect. Jiang Yuan said coldly. Private fight? How could it be? It's just a sparring with a useless disciple. Wenzi grinned fiercely. Anren gritted her teeth tightly and rushed forward with a short sword. The envoy learned the transformation sword technique from beginner level, and the star light on the blade flickered slightly, causing a heavy slash. However, Wenzi only extended her fingers and easily grasped the short knife. Then, she bent her fingers and flicked her other hand. Anren spat out blood and quickly backed up, directly smashing the old bed in the wooden house. Falling to the ground, life and death are unknown. How dare you kill her? Jiang Yuan's face darkened and he quickly walked to Anren's side, bending down to examine her injuries. Then take out a medicine bottle from the storage ring and pour out the healing pill to feed Anren. Didn't you die? That's quite lucky. Wenzi's face no longer had a smile, but changed to a plain tone. I have already given you 2 face this year. If you obediently leave the mountain gate earlier, you won't have to suffer so much. Now I'll give you 2 choices. First, you and her get off the broken sky wall. Second, I'll throw you and her off the broken sky wall together. Let's pack up our things and leave, Jiang Yuan said with a gloomy face. He picked up Anren and walked towards the back of the house, where he had prepared some bags for leaving Wuya Peak before, which could allow them to practice for 6 months without any support, but Wenzi dodged and blocked the passage from the wooden house to the backyard. "I didn't give you this option," he said. "It seems you chose the second option." He reached out his big hand like a fan and grabbed Jiang Yuan's head. "You." Jiang Yuan's eyes were torn apart. At this moment, time seemed to come to a standstill. "Ding, congratulations to the host. Your strongest spiritual root system has been credited. This system is provided by Wanjie Shihui Group. Due to the turbulence of time and space, the actual installation time has been delayed by 20 years. March 5, August 21, 34. Jijibeo has provided compensation. The first awakening must have an SSS-level spiritual root. Accompanied by Shihui, travel worry-free. Now there is also an additional system lottery opportunity for positive reviews. Awakening spiritual roots for you. Congratulations to the host, you have awakened the SSS-level spiritual root, Wind Spirit Moon Shadow. Chapter 2. Sect System. You are listening at novel full.audio. Wenzi's big hand, like a fan, stopped in front of him. He still maintained his fierce face, but remained motionless. The other cultivators in the room also did the same, as if time had been frozen here. What exactly is this? Jiang Yuan looked at the subtitle in front of him, feeling a bit confused. He thought that Golden Finger had completely lost touch with his own self in this world, but now it has been refreshed. And what is the delay in system implementation? Shouldn't the system have traveled with itself? Why didn't it have a smooth sailing? Fortunately, this group has a bit of humanity and has given itself some compensation. What is the Wind Spirit Moon Shadow Spirit Root? Is it the same thing as the Wind Spirit Moon Shadow in my impression? Jiang Yuan's mind moved, stirring up his spiritual roots. He realized that the original position of the 5 spirit roots had now been replaced by a virtual panel. He immersed himself in observing the characters on the panel. Infinite Spirit Stone. Guan Infinite Spiritual Power. Off Infinite Health. Off Infinite Spirit Strength. Off Bottleneck Second Breakthrough. Off Heartless Demon. Close Age does not increase. Off Cultivation Rate. 1.0 Set World Speed. 0, paused, grass. What kind of thing is this? Isn't this a game modifier? There's no such thing as the golden finger in a fairy tale novel being a modifier. Shouldn't it be all kinds of magic weapons, various Taoist techniques, and lottery systems? Is it because the previous life modifier was used too much, and after traveling through time, it directly enlightened the path of modification? Now I have to fully open up and let myself feel refreshed, expressing my grievances over the past 20 years of enduring humiliation. However, there is one more thing to do before opening up. Positive review. I want to give it a positive review. Jiang Yuan shouted in her heart, then looked at the panel in front of her with great anticipation. As expected, a line of small characters slowly emerged. We have received a 5-star review from the host and are currently cashing out an additional system lottery opportunity for the host. Do you want to draw now? Yes. Ding dong, extracting the system. A huge virtual slot machine appeared in front of Jiang Yuan. Upon closer inspection, Jiang Yuan realized that the prize pool was still open and transparent, with the words written on it. Wanjie Chamber of Commerce System, Fashionable Value System, God-Level Anti-Faction System, Strongest Counterattack System, God-Level Face Fighting System, Cultivation Simulator System, Universal Live Broadcasting System, Duozidwafu System, Rebirth Xianhuan System. Jiang Yuan eagerly pressed the red button in the center of the slot machine, and then the slot machine began to flicker with a clanging sound. The cursor circled several times on the prize pool, and in Jiang Yuan's expectant gaze, it finally slowly stopped. Congratulations on winning the system. Duozidwafu, we are distributing prizes for you. How could it be the system of harem flow, but I am clearly a pure love party, and for the past 20 years, I have always believed in the Tao of having no woman in my heart and the natural spirit of drawing a sword. This system is completely incompatible with me. However, upon careful consideration, my junior sister has also grown up in recent years, and she admires her very much on a daily basis. Even if she doesn't taste it when she reaches adulthood, ding, I'm very sorry. In response to the call for net cleaning under the supervision of the God of River Crabs, the Duozhi system is currently under maintenance and is expected to open on the 1st. We have replaced it with another system for you. You have obtained the system. The strongest sect system. Strongest sect system. This system helps the host build the world's strongest sect. The host can obtain lottery opportunities and store permissions by continuously improving the sect level. The increase in sect level is related to factors such as the host sect's popularity, achievements, respect, trust, reputation, number of disciples, and younger brother cultivation. Please ask the host to name their sect system. Who is this river crab god so sacred that even the group delivering the system is afraid? Jiang Yuan tilted his head for a moment and then spoke up, Hero+Sect. Ding, the file of Hero+Sect has been created, extracting beginner gift packages for the sect leader, Jiang Yuan. Congratulations, you have won the once.in.a. century skill body, Tongling sword spirit. Congratulations, you have won the Yuanying Xian level skill, Tianhui imperial sword technique. Congratulations, you have won the mid-level magic weapon, Qinghong sword, for building foundations. Your beginner gift pack has been extracted. We hope you can create the strongest sect in the cultivation world as soon as possible. The store function will be automatically activated when the host is independent and the number of sect members reaches 2. The current number of sect members is 1. After broadcasting for a long time, the virtual subtitles in front of him finally fell silent, but Jiang Yuan's excited heart couldn't calm down. The troubles of the past 20 years have finally paid off. I will be awesome in the future. Cough, this is too uncivilized. The dragon returns to the sea, the tiger enters the deep mountains. Feng Shui takes turns, mountains and rivers meet. Mo Daosher, with one eye, jumps the yellow river and turns the world upside down. Gold scales are not things in the pool, they transform into dragons when they encounter wind and clouds. 30 years in the east and 30 years in the west, do not deceive young people into poverty. Jiang Yuan protected the little junior sister on his back with his left hand, and a long sword with a sparkling green light appeared on his right hand. Unlimited spiritual power. Open. Infinite health. Open. Infinite spirit strength. Open. Set world speed. 1.0, the blue light in his hand was like electricity, cutting off Wenzi's palm and penetrating her throat. Click. Cough cough. Wenzi covered the hole in her throat with her left hand, bleeding profusely as she wanted to say something, but all her words leaked out of that hole and she didn't say anything in the end. Senior brother. The other cultivators were all shocked and didn't understand why this happened in an instant. They all offered their magical tools and launched an attack on Jiang Yuan together. Seeing 7 or 8 magical tools flying towards him, Jiang Yuan threw his Qinghong sword with a left hand. The long sword flew twice in the air before colliding with the disciples' magical tools. This is a commonly used combat method among cultivators, called Doubao. Treasures will compete with each other and determine the winner through a series of complex factors such as quality, sharpness, sturdiness, the master's operational skills, and the master's spiritual power. However, there is still a relatively simple way to determine the winner. Simply gather all the spiritual energy and strike a deadly blow. And Jiang Yuan also injected all the spiritual energy typically found during the construction period. There's no way, after all, this is still a magic weapon for building foundations. The long sword emitted an explosive sound in the air, destroying all the artifacts colliding with it with just one impact. The monks were shocked and pale. Is this still a refining period? Is this still a 3-layer gas refining process? Is this still a useless disciple they bully casually on weekdays? They couldn't help but recall the memories that had already been buried in time. Master Wuya is one of the most powerful Jindan cultivators in the Qinyan sect. Although he caused a stir during his first apprenticeship, the techniques he left for his disciples were not lacking. Damn it, no wonder others are urging them to go. It turns out they are instigating them to lift the bottom card of Wuya Peak. Short thoughts are the last moments of their lives. Because the next second, the blue light and shadow pierced through the throats of these cultivators. Shoo! The long sword returns to its sheath. Chapter 3. Walking in the Sky. You are listening at novel full.audio. After killing several disciples of the same sect like a chicken, Jiang Yuan's expression remained unchanged. He bent down and picked up the Xuanhuan rings from the corpses one by one, putting them into his own pocket. This is not how cold-blooded and ruthless he is, but such a scene that he has rehearsed in his mind over 1,000 times. Once a week, 10 times a time, 520 times a year, 2 years, that's over 1,000 times. I have become accustomed to killing too much. All joy, all pleasure, all fear, all resentment have been buried in the dust of past fantasies. When revenge truly arrives, the only thing left for these corpses is indifference. Jiang Yuan returned to the inner room and took out his luggage. He checked it and confirmed that there were no omissions. He lit incense in front of the Lingtang of Master Wuya and looked at the wooden house he had lived in for 20 years from beginning to end, as if he wanted to keep this house forever in his heart. After completing all of this, he had no attachment to it anymore. Take big strides towards Qianxiong Peak. Senior brother, hurry to Qianxiong Peak. There's an accident, and we've already gone crazy here. In the dark wooden house, a disciple felt something and took out his communication symbol, saying, "What's wrong? Has the Confusion God sect been attacking again?" "No, it seems that a disciple has gone crazy and has been killing people," said the communication symbol hesitantly. "Just wait for the elder to take him down, even if it's a big deal, it will affect me," the disciple said angrily. "From that appearance, it seems like the one from Wuya Peak. Useless firewood. Isn't he just in the early stages of qi refining? Can qi refining still lead to madness?" "Yes, and they have already been killed. There's such a thing, I'll go through the customs now." This scene occurred in many peaks, and countless meditative and secluded cultivators received a message and broke through the levels one after another. Enemy attack, enemy attack. The blue long sword pierced through his chest, and a fleeing disciple fell straight on the icy stone ground, his vitality rapidly fading away. The blue sword shadow quickly caught up with another fleeing disciple and stabbed him in the back of the head. But the disciple next to him, trembling and holding his head, was unharmed. A young man in a green robe carrying a girl walked slowly past him, completely ignoring his presence. The disciple raised his head in confusion, only to find 3 medium-grade spirit stones shining brightly at his feet. On the grassy steps, some disciples of Qianxiong Peak drew their swords to greet them, some turned around and fled, and some knelt down to beg for mercy. But regardless of whether they are geniuses or ordinary disciples, outsiders or core disciples, refining qi or building foundations, they are all subdued by a single blow. They are either knocked unconscious by the sword hilt, leaving 3 spirit stones beside them, or their heads are cut off by the sword blade, leaving no corpses. The Tongling sword soul is truly a once-in-a-century skill. Practicing any sword-style technique takes 1,000 miles in a day, and using sword-like magical powers or treasures is like using your arms and fingers. After activating unlimited spiritual power, every strike from the flying sword can be considered as a full blow from a foundation-building period cultivator using magic weapons. Most disciples don't even have magic weapons, and the magic tools are being used for searching and searching. How can they withstand such attacks? It is not that no one has thought of the principle of capturing the king before capturing the thief. Many people directly attack the owner of the magic treasure, but unfortunately, the attack of the cultivator during the foundation period has not yet reached the threshold of the spiritual energy shield. With infinite spiritual power, a slight gap is doubled and filled. The young man in the green robe remained expressionless and walked towards the mountain calmly. Apart from occasionally waving his right hand to command the sword shadow and occasionally bending down to pick up the storage ring, it seemed that everything in this tragic world had nothing to do with him. Over the years, he remembers every person who has stepped onto the boundless peak. After learning that Weya Peak had lost its master, the people of Xianxia were eager for the resources at that peak. The master had some requests, and the disciples obeyed their efforts. Most of Xianxia Peak's disciples had come to the door of Weya Peak, becoming part of an avalanche. Of course, there are also many disciples with clear Taoist hearts who do not agree with this behavior. They will come to inform Jiang Yuan and ran in advance, or watch them pitifully quietly give them some cultivation resources. Those who cultivate the righteous path will still retain a part of their humanity and chivalry until the end, which is also the reason why Jiang Yuan and his senior sisters have been able to stay until today. And resent, affection and hatred, Jiang Yuan remembers very clearly. Master, that useless person from Weya Peak has come up the mountain. He looks like he's already possessed. A disciple had just put down the communication symbol when he was pierced by a long sword from bottom to top, and blood spilled all over the ground. As the news spread, more and more cultivators were also stepping into the air or flying with swords, gathering around the outskirts of Xianxia Peak. When Jiang Yuan reached 3/4 of the stone steps, many golden elixirs elders or protectors of Xianxia sect had already gathered in the air, frowning and watching what was happening. Jiang Yuan and the others are not strangers, after all, they are geniuses who were famous in the sect for their hidden heavenly spirit roots. Master Weya has also come up with many ideas for them, spent a lot of resources, and even hired Yuan and Zhenjun. In the end, they also made a big joke. I just didn't expect this joke to have a sequel. Refining qi and cutting the foundation, could it be that Master Weya gave this little doll some treasure? Nearly 20 disciples have died, why hasn't the heavenly ghost taken action? An elder from the alchemy hall frowned and asked. I guess he's still practicing his dream divine skill. The more he can't break through, the more he covets the resources of Weya Peak. With his mindset, even if he has Weya Peak, he won't be able to conceive, said the Peak Master of Xianxia Peak disdainfully. A protector smiled and said, Xianxia Dao Yu said so grandly, and you haven't had to dig out spiritual stones from the monthly salary of Weya Peak. Now that you're so happy, aren't you afraid that Jiang Xiaoyu will kill your peak head? Later, the heavenly ghost will personally take action to suppress this kid and prove that his followers are all useless. He has lost face and cannot compete in the distribution of Weya Peak in the future. Master Xianxia said, losing so many disciples again has greatly damaged his vitality. In the next sect competition, he will not have Xianxia Peak. I lost 2 major competitors in one go, and when these 2 things come together, why am I not happy? As for killing my peak leader, let him come. Our disciples are not like Xianxia Peak and his gang of wine bags and rice bags. The other elders also nodded extremely, not taking any action, purely for fun. From their perspective, they can naturally see at a glance how much damage Ran, who was lying behind the riverbank, has suffered, and then infer what exactly happened. When Weya Peak was bullied on weekdays, they didn't step out. Now that Xianxia Peak has an accident, they naturally won't rush forward to maintain justice, otherwise they will have to be stabbed in the spine. Watching the excitement with peace of mind is so fragrant. It's better to leave this mess to the sect leader to solve. Xianxia Peak. Jiang Yuan wiped away the bloodstains on his long sword and climbed step by step to the top of the steps on Xianxia Peak. He kicked away a corpse and casually cut off half of a stone tablet engraved with the words Xianxia Peak. Then, he carefully leaned the unconscious Anran against the stone tablet. He stood in front of the temple on the mountaintop, with a long sword and a simple path. Xianxia Old Ghost, come out and lead death. The gate of the temple slowly opens. Chapter 4. Battle in the Sky. You are listening at novel full.audio. Master, there's an accident. A disciple urgently pushed open the gate of the Xianxia sect general pavilion, panting heavily. The leader of Xianxia sect, King Wujiu, was sitting at the table entertaining guests. Upon hearing this, he closed his eyes and experienced the movement of the sect's formation. After confirming that the Patriarch protection formation was not in operation and no external invasion was felt, King Wujiu frowned and scolded, "What kind of panic is it? Didn't you see that I'm entertaining guests?" The disciple obviously didn't have much ability to observe words and expressions. After being trained for a while, he still couldn't help but explain, "Master, the Jiang from the Qi refining period of Weia Peak is now rushing to Tianqiong Peak and killing people everywhere. He has already been killed." Jiang Yuan. That disciple during the Qi refining period. Did he get beaten? Qin Wujiu frowned and said. No, he ran to Tianqiong Peak and started killing the cultivators there, one sword at a time, many. He spoke halfway, only to find his mouth sealed, stuttering and unable to say anything. Gong Daoyu laughed. Qin Wujiu arched his hand with a hint of apology. The disciples of the sect were a bit reckless and rushed over for some small matters. Please wait for a while, Gong Daoyu. I'll take care of it first. It's okay, the spiritual cultivator sitting across from King Wujiu smiled and said, I happen to also want to taste the spiritual tea that your Xianxia gate treasures. Not yet. Qin Wujiu grabbed the disciple who came to report and flew towards Tianqiong Peak. There's no doorknob in his mouth, can this kind of thing be said in front of guests? He connected his mind and spirit with the sect formation while the disciple was explaining, and learned about what was happening. Although it sounds unbelievable, what this disciple said seems to be true. But even if it's true, everyone knows that one's family shame should not be exposed. Are these disciples foolish in their cultivation? Tianqiong Peak, the gate of the temple slowly opens. The person from the heavenly sky slowly walked out with his hands on his back. He was dressed in a grey Taoist robe and had an ordinary appearance. However, when he appeared, Jiang Yuan felt a big mountain pressing against him, unable to move a single finger. The pressure of the golden elixir period is absolute in terms of spiritual consciousness for people below the golden elixir period. As long as they are willing, they can directly explode the small Qi refining disciple in front of them with just their gaze. Seeing the appearance of the heavenly sky master, the faces of the elders surrounding the heavenly sky peak showed a look of schadenfreude. The popularity of the people in the heavenly sky was not very good, but now they have been hit by a disciple from the third level of Qi refining, forcing the peak master of the golden elixir period to take action. This is a very embarrassing thing. He may not necessarily be the leader of this peak. As for the outcome of the Qi refining cultivator versus the golden core cultivator, it is already predetermined. Is there any possibility of a turning point? No magical item can make up for the gap like a heavenly moat, and if you commit any of the following offenses, there is no support from the golden pill behind it. Not being killed on the spot is also the result of being beaten and thrown down the mountain. The sharp eyes of the person from Tianqiong scrutinized Jiang Yuan, as if trying to find out the reason why he could use his Qi refining body to kill Tianqiong Peak. He knows many magical powers that can burn life and unleash attacks beyond his realm, but he has never seen a skill or item that can treat his ultimate move as a regular attack and release something that he hasn't had much to do yet. You. The person in the heavenly sky was about to ask a question, but was surprised to find that the Qi refining disciple in front of him suddenly disappeared from his lock. Immediately after, there was a burst of pain in his chest. He lowered his head, and the 3-foot green blade slowly seeped through his chest, dripping blood. Jiang Yuan held a long sword and stood in front of the heavenly sky Taoist, with a cold expression on his face, as if the golden core master in front of him was just a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. How could it be? Many disciples of Tianqiong Peak, who had lost their combat power lying on the steps, widened their eyes with an incredulous expression on their faces. If you wait for a group of chi refining and foundation building cultivators to be instantly killed with a single blow, you can use the opponent's use of the burning life technique to start desperately as an excuse. Why would my own master, who is a cultivator of the golden core, be stabbed without any resistance? Is the opponent an ordinary cultivator with 3 levels of chi refining? I have never heard that geniuses can kill enemies in smaller realms, while Tianzong Qi can kill enemies in larger realms. What is it to kill enemies in 2 larger realms? Did the gods descend to earth? And other disciples at the peak also began to mutter in their hearts. This move is a bit handsome. Even the golden elixir master cannot avoid it. Do Wuya Peak still accept people now? Did Master Wuya have the qualification to open up mountains because of this move at that time? I heard that his strength in the golden elixir is also extremely strong. If I knew this trick too, I would definitely achieve good results in the next sect competition. Many disciples looked eagerly at Jiang Yuan and the unconscious and ran beside them. After all, Wuya Peak has only had 2 periods of chi refining disciples and has never participated in sect competitions. This move is the ultimate skill of Wuya Peak for all cultivators. If they can learn it, it can greatly improve their strength. And the elders of the golden elixir who were looking around were not calm anymore. Their vision far exceeded that of ordinary disciples. They knew Master Wuya. Have you ever seen this move? Jindeu, you and Master Wuya are close friends. Elder Hong, you have healed the wounds of Master Wuya before. They asked each other and all the answers they received were negative, which made them somewhat interested in the vastly different battles. The golden elixir was not so easy to kill, and the little disciple of chi refining was not as vulnerable as it seemed. The main peak of Xianxia sect is located in the main pavilion. The cultivator who was sipping tea suddenly felt something and raised his head. A sudden impulse, organic fate waiting for me. Interesting. The heavenly sky master let out a roar, and a gust of strong wind blew out from him, directly blowing Jiang Yuan and his long sword away. The injury in his chest quickly healed, and at this moment, he couldn't care about his superior demeanor. The supernatural powers used by the opponent are beyond his understanding. If the attack cannot even be seen, how can he defend? He pinched his fingertips and recited a mantra in his mouth. In an instant, dark clouds covered the sky, and the sky suddenly changed color. An arm-sized purple divine thunder pierced through the sky, targeting the edge of the river and quickly struck it. Zila. This move is called Zhouxiao Yule Ju, which is a famous skill of the heavenly sky master. It is known for its brutal and unparalleled power. It is said that he once used this move to slay a transformed demon king. The power of the lightning summoned during the golden elixir period greatly exceeded the threshold that the chi refining shield could withstand. The spirit shield quickly dissipated like a bubble, and the purple divine lightning hit the edge of the river. The person from the heavenly sky is really ruthless, sighed a protector. Master Xianxia snorted coldly, I see he's just afraid. The heart of Master Xianxia also silently drummed, now only hoping that the sect leader, who is a primordial baby, would quickly stand up and maintain the scene. Jiang Yuan's killing power ran to his peak, and his group of disciples couldn't stop it. All the golden core cultivators stared closely at the smoke and dust at the landing point of the thunder. Their divine sense could sense the breath of the chi refining disciple, and Jiang Yuan was not dead yet. Just how much damage did this useless little disciple suffer? How many more times can you stand up? How much more capacity is there? The smoke and dust dispersed, and the figure of the young man holding a long sword appeared. Chapter 5. Meeting with the Patriarch. You are listening at novel full.audio. The smoke dissipated, and Jiang Yuan, who was hit head-on, was only slightly blackened in his Taoist robe. It's just that Jiang Yuan's heart is not so happy. My infinite health is indeed real, but why is my clothes not infinite? If it weren't for immediately repairing my Taoist robe with spiritual power after being struck by lightning, I wouldn't have clothes to wear now. Jiang Yuan touched his clothes and couldn't bear to part. There were only 3 sets of clothes in total, which were gifted by Master Wu Yao. Without them, they would be out of print. If he wanted to wear them again, he had to ask his junior sister to make clothes for him. It's better not to be hit. When Jiang Yuan saw that his breath was complete and his blood was strong, without any signs of injury, the monks who were watching suddenly became calm. If the previously unlockable attack was a powerful combat supernatural, then what is the current defense capability? Is it a powerful prop? Is it some kind of mysterious secret technique? What kind of ability can make a chi refining period withstand attacks from the golden elixir period unscathed? Is it the person from the sky who is fighting a fake match? Or is it true that the current Jiang Yuan is actually disguised by some ancient evil monster? The most terrifying one among them belongs to the person from the heavenly sky. He knows the power of his secret method the most. Recently, there has been a breakthrough in his cultivation, and his power has increased. When this thunder strikes him, he will either die or become disabled. What kind of monster is it without damage? Jiang Yuan's mouth slightly curled up, his mind moved, and he once again set the world speed to 0.0. Everything around quieted down, and even the divine consciousness that locked itself in, like the heavy pressure of a hill, dissipated without a trace. He strolled freely in this still world, where no one would compete with him for any time. He could do whatever he wanted and freely pursue any revenge he had dreamed of. The reason why he is so high profile is twofold. On the one hand, he has his own plan, and on the other hand, who can obtain an unlimited health, unlimited spiritual power, and unlimited pause time to become a suspended cultivator. Jiang Yuan came to the person in the heavenly sky and urged the Qinghong sword in his hand to inject full spiritual power. The spirit of the Tongling sword and the Tianhui imperial sword technique echoed and strengthened each other, and then the long sword thrust forward heavily. The spiritual shield of the golden elixir period is very hard, and the body itself is also very strong. In fact, Jiang Yuan cannot penetrate the defense of the golden elixir master in one go, even if the opponent does not move. But so what? If it doesn't work out once, come a few more times. In the first move, a small opening was made on the spiritual shield. In the second move, the long sword pierced open the skin of the person in the sky. In the third move, a small hole appeared on the body of the person in the sky. After repeating this 8 times, the people in the heavenly sky have reached the state of opening all 8 doors together. Jiang Yuan slowly returned to his original position with his sword, regained his posture, and then mentally swung his spiritual roots to modify the parameters. Set world speed. 1.0 Pui 8 wounds suddenly appeared on the body of the person in the heavenly sky, and 8 blood arrows were shot out. Each wound was injured by a long sword, revealing deep bones. Being so injured, the person in the heavenly sky also spewed out a mouthful of blood and took a pill from the receiving ring, showing a look of shock on his face. Jiang Yuan waved his hand to wipe away the blood stains on the Qinghong sword, lightly flicked the sword body, and made a crisp sound. The long sword drinks blood and softly sings sword songs, as if telling the owner's ease and contentment. The towering Jindan master had no resistance when facing a chi refining cultivator. The disciples discussed with each other, asking who had a deep friendship with Jiang Yuan and what kind of martial arts he practiced. Rapid teleportation, impervious to weapons and knives, ignoring pressure, infinite spiritual power, infinite explosive seeds. As long as you learn any one, won't it be easy to win the sect competition? Some people have proposed the long-standing theories of past life wisdom and great reincarnation, as if only these 2 possibilities can explain the current situation. Get ready to take action. A protector took a deep breath and said, the situation is a bit out of control now. The heavenly ghost may not be able to defeat that little ghost, and that little ghost's strength is also abnormal. Whether it's the demon taking over or the reincarnation of the powerful, they need to be interrogated severely. How do you take it? You can see his movements clearly. What kind of method of seizing and giving up can cross the realm and exert strength without disturbing the sect protection formation? If he can reincarnate, you can bear his cause and effect. Master Xianxia thought he wanted to see more damage to the heavenly sky, so he advised, I think you should not die, so that this kid doesn't treat you as an opponent too. Are you really afraid that he won't succeed? Confusion, illusion, divine soul attack, seal, etc. When trapped in another soul search, what secrets are you afraid this person will hide? Hehe, I heard that a Yuanian cultivator attempted to search for a reincarnated baby's soul, but was reverse searched. In the end, there was no complete body. If you're not afraid of death, give it a try, or if you have the ability to ask the Supreme Elder to give it a try. But stay away from me, I'm afraid I'll be splattered with blood. Don't make any noise, said the Elder of the Alchemy Hall. The Master is here, let's see how he can solve it. The elders finally stopped and looked at the steps of Qianxiong Peak. In the distance, a middle-aged Taoist with a fairy-like demeanor slowly stepped into the air. His face was solemn, his white hair was fluttering, and his Taoist robe was written with a large, blue, character. He first looked at the corpses and bloodstains lying on the steps of Qianxiong Peak, then shifted his gaze to the two people facing each other in front of the temple at the summit, paused for a moment, and spoke. Qianyu, you've been a little past these 2 years. The person named Qianxiong raised his head and wanted to say something, but when he met Qing Wujiu's gaze, he immediately lowered his head. He was unreasonable and shouldn't have been entangled in this matter. King Wujiu then looked at Jiang Yuan and frowned to herself. His mind and spirit were intertwined with the sect formation, and his strength greatly increased. Even so, he couldn't see clearly the young disciple's move, which left him feeling a bit uncertain. It is better to calm this farce as soon as possible for the present plan. After weighing it, he decided to go soft. Jiang Yuan, the people who have enemies with you have already been killed by you. Let's stop here for revenge. From now on, you will be the peak master of Wia Peak, assuming the position of acting elder and receiving a full monthly salary like other peak masters. How about that? The voice of Qing Wujiu was not loud, but the people around Qianxiong Peak could clearly hear it. They also knew that this bloody event had been identified by the sect leader, and the protagonist of the story had also completed a comeback. I can climb to the sky in one step, and become the peak master during the qi refining period. I envy it, said a new disciple with 4 levels of qi refining, admiring him. The salary of an ordinary disciple is only 300 lower-grade spirit stones per month, while the salary of an elder is 300,000, which has increased by 1,000 times. There are also various precious talismans and medicines, various permissions, and rewards can be issued to instruct disciples to do this and that. What's the envy? Being in the limelight is not a good thing. Do you know if you're going to shoot a bird? I think ordinary disciples are pretty good and more comfortable, said another disciple, shaking his head. Just as everyone thought the bloody incident had come to an end, Jiang Yuan drew his sword back into its sheath and shook his head, saying, Actually, I have already planned to leave Qingyan sect. Chapter 6. Immortals Descending the Mountain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Can I understand why I left Qingyan sect? King Wujiu asked calmly without getting angry. Jiang Yuan scanned the cultivators around him, then looked directly at Qing Wujiu and said calmly, My master, Master Wuya, threw his head and shed blood for the sect. He was injured in the battle with the puzzled god sect and damaged his foundation. Is this possible? That's true. My master fell when he broke through the Yuanying, and since then, I have received 100 or so monthly salaries from Wia Peak. Is this possible? This. Qing Wujiu raised his head and glanced at the distant audience of elders such as Xianxia Xuanhuan, saying, It's indeed so. Since 2 years ago, Master Qianxiong has instructed his disciples to visit Wuya Peak every week to harass me and my junior sister. Is there such a thing? You're talking nonsense. Seeing Qin Wujiu's gaze fixed on him, the Heavenly Sky Master's face immediately changed and he angrily said, "How could I lower my status and do such a thing?" "I don't think so," said a voice from the elder group. "Oh my God, didn't you say before that you could win Wuya Peak within this year? Why didn't you say it in front of the sect leader now? You." The person from the heavenly sky was about to get angry when he was immediately slapped by Qin Wujiu and flew out, smashing a big hole in the temple behind him. The person in the sky climbed up with a disheveled face, afraid to be angry anymore. Then Qin Wujiu looked at Jiang Yuan and took a deep breath, saying, "Jiang Yuan, I know you have grievances. The sect owes you something. I will personally investigate the past 2 years and I will definitely give you a satisfactory answer afterwards. What do you think?" "Yes, Jiang Yuan. Since the sect leader is willing to uphold justice for you, and you are also tired today, why not go back and rest first, carefully consider before making a decision." An elder who had some friendship with Master Wuya advised Jiang Yuan, who was quite familiar with him and had received some care. The elders also nodded and pleaded with kindness, persuading one by one that as long as Jiang Yuan, a powerful reincarnation seed, could be left in the sect, 10 times the compensation would be earned. "Then there's something I don't need to investigate," Jiang Yuan pointed to and ran next to the stone tablet. "My junior sister was severely injured and dying by their eldest disciple of Qianxiong Peak. This injury was caused by Qianxiong Peak's unique skill of transforming Qiong Palm, so there shouldn't be an investigation, right?" A series of divine senses swept over and ran, who was lying on the edge of the stone tablet. The sect leader and elders fell silent, and with their insights, they naturally distinguished the situation of this female disciple from the beginning. Suffering heavy damage, on the brink of death, now only barely hanging his life. The elder of the alchemy hall sighed and took out a pill from the receiving ring. With a flick of his finger, the pill hit Anrant's forehead and its power quickly dissipated. Anrant's originally pale face turned red at a visible speed, and her breath stabilized. "Thank you very much, Elder Yao." Jiang Yuan turned around and bowed to the elder of the alchemy hall, then looked at Qin Wujiu and continued, "This is not the first time I have said these things, it's just that no one has listened to what was said before. Before my master's death, he told me the names of some of my close friends, but every time I search for the elders based on this, they are always in seclusion or out for something, and when asked for a specific date, they always say they don't know." A few elders awkwardly averted their gaze. "I once petitioned the main peak for the matter of Qianxiong Peak and didn't ask for anything else. I just hoped to merge with other peaks and give my junior sister and me a shelter, so that we wouldn't be driven down the mountain. Unfortunately, the qualifications of the 4 spirit roots and 5 spirit roots were too poor. After explaining our intention, we couldn't even enter the main peak's door. And now, the last resting place has also been broken, and the Qingyun sect no longer has a place for the 2 of us. Why should the sect leader keep us? And today's matter, I just want to seek justice." Speaking, Jiang Yuan drew his sword out of its sheath again, but stopped halfway through the process and withdrew the Qinghong sword from its sheath. Without seeing him move any further, a scream could be heard from a person in the distant sky. Elder Zhu Jindan looked around, but saw a person in the sky holding the elixir field and howling. There appeared a small hole the size of a thumb, which looked like it was injured by a sword. If the Dantian is destroyed, the foundation of the road will be damaged. Jiang Yuan. The elders were both shocked and angry, furious that this disciple was so arrogant that he dared to strike and injure another elder of the golden elixirs in front of so many golden elixirs and the sect leader, and hit the nail on the head. Surprisingly, even if the sect leader, the primordial infant, was in front of him, there were so many Jindan cultivators here, including those who were good at reconnaissance and capturing the weaknesses of others. Surprisingly, no one could see the moves of this disciple. What speed is this and what technique is it? Heavenly Sky Old Ghost, I won't kill you, Jiang Yuan said coldly. I want you to experience the feeling of damage to your foundation, and the feeling of being unable to step in just one step away from Yuaning. Today's events will become your inner demons, and you will end up depressed. Your heavenly sky peak will also be coveted by others forever. Several elders opened their mouths, wanting to say something, but after remembering the inexplicable wound on the person in the sky, they finally closed their mouths. The heavenly sky master has been preparing for Yuaning for these years. If he suffers such a blow, he will definitely not be able to overcome the calamity of Yuan Ying's time. Moreover, today's event inevitably leaves him with a demonic heart. A peak master with no future cannot maintain his status and disciples, which is also the reason why Master Wuya attacked Yuaning with injuries. And now it is very likely that the Heavenly Sky Master will replicate the experience of the Endless Master. He is a ruthless disciple who repays others with the same way. Qin Wujiu glanced at the person in the heavenly sky who was holding the elixir field, glanced at Enran who was still awake, and finally sighed, saying, Jiang Yuan, I know you have suffered a lot of injustice, but you must understand that the sect also has difficulties, and you cannot solve the problems for every disciple. Yes, I understand. Jiang Yuan nodded and said, weakness is the greatest original sin, so when I have the power, I come to seek justice on my own. You. An elder wanted to criticize Jiang Yuan's words for being biased, but was interrupted by Qin Wujiu waving his hand. Qin Wujiu asked calmly, I understand. So, Jiang Yuan, what other demands do you have? It's gone, Jiang Yuan replied. Today's matter is over, and my revenge is also over. He reached out and wiped, opened his storage ring, took out the spirit stone and placed it on the ground. 1, 5, 10, until the spirit stone was turned into a small mountain. I have been taken care of by the sect for 14 years, and my junior sister has been taken care of for 10 years. As an ordinary disciple, we receive 300 spiritual stones per month. Together, we received a total of 86,400 lower-grade spiritual stones. The kindness of dripping water is reciprocated by a gushing spring. I have paid back 10 times the cultivation of the sect over the years. These 86 top-grade spirit stones were returned to the sect, and from then on, it will be the 2 clears. Several elders widened their eyes, all seeing the reincarnation of the great power for the first time. It turned out that the reincarnation of the great power also had accompanying treasures, and even the Qianquan ring could be reincarnated together. Although these over 80 top-grade spirit stones are nothing to them, it's a bit unbelievable for a young disciple of Qi refining to be able to take them out. I just don't know what else is in his possession ring, whether there are any lost martial arts from ancient times, and so on. Forget it, great power, I really can't afford to provoke it. After Jiang Yuan put down the spirit stone, he picked up and ran and strode towards the foot of the mountain without hesitation. Wait a moment, Qin Wujiu suddenly called out to Jiang Yuan. Jiang Yuan turned around and saw Qin Wujiu bouncing a storage ring into his own hand. This is a 2-year monthly salary for a mountain peak, which can be considered as compensation from the sect for your years at Wuya Peak, said Qin Wujiu. If you and your junior sister want to come back from now on, Qinyan's sect will always open the door. Jiang Yuan didn't answer, just took the ring, waved his hand, and continued walking towards the mountain gate. Chapter 7. Secondary Sect. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. When Enran opened his eyes, he found them in a pavilion in the mountains. Outside the pavilion, there was a light rain pattering on the eaves, emitting a crisp and rhythmic sound. Jiang Yuan was holding a receiving ring, lying on the ground fiddling with spirit stones and various heavenly and earthly treasures, occasionally scratching his head in distress. Senior brother. Where is this? Are we in the underworld? Enran lay on the chair, feeling dizzy. She reluctantly sat up, feeling pain all over her body as if she was about to fall apart. What are you saying? Aren't we living well? You were injured before and passed out. Jiang Yuan looked up and saw Ran wake up, so he said softly, "You haven't recovered from your injury yet, don't move around." Oh. Upon hearing this, Ran leaned back in the chair, obediently motionless. Those bastards from the construction period of Tianqiong Peak. Senior brother, how did you bring me out? Why do we have to run out? Can't it be because senior brother showcased his divine power and killed him all the way? Jiang Yuan joked, and I also killed Tianqiong Peak all the way to avenge you. Ran carefully understood Jiang Yuan's words and opened his mouth wide. At that time, I killed one person in 10 steps, leaving no trace for 1,000 miles. The heads of the people I killed on Tianqiong Peak were rolling, and along the way, I even struck the Tianqiong Xuanhuan 9 times, and ruined his foundation. At that time, a group of elders were on the scene, and even the sect leader came. I turned my head on your back and walked down the mountain. Jiang Yuan played with the spirit stone while briefly summarizing what happened yesterday. Pucci, okay. Ran laughed out loud and accidentally twitched the wound, shrinking her neck. She looked around and then asked in surprise, "Senior brother, are we on Qinyan Mountain?" "Yeah, I told you before, I took you out of the sect and all the way down the mountain," Jiang Yuan said. Then he looked up as if he remembered something and asked solemnly, "Enron, I plan to create my own sect called Hero+Sect. Would you be willing to join?" "Of course, I'll go wherever senior brother goes. However, since senior brother wants to become the sect leader himself, can I become the deputy sect leader?" Jiang Yuan did not pay attention to the words behind Ran, because after hearing the words, "of course," the long silent screen began to jump again. The number of sects has increased. The current number of sects is 2. It has been detected that the host is independent and the strongest sect system subfunctions are being activated. The store function has been activated, with more items available for purchase as the sect level opens up. The disciple management function has been enabled, allowing you to manage sect disciples in the menu. The sect level has increased. The current level is level 2, and the next level will be unlocked and the sect elders plus true heirs reach 10 people and the average cultivation reaches the foundation. Due to the increase in level, you have been awarded 20 lucky draw opportunities 20 times. What are you waiting for? Just start smoking. Jiang Yuan rubbed his hands and directly clicked on the lucky draw on the virtual light screen. Congratulations, you have won the Sect's Building Creation Spirit Pool. This pool has the ability to cut scriptures and wash marrow. Ordinary fish can climb the dragon gate by raising them in the spirit pool for 100 years. Congratulations, you have won the Sect's Building Ascending Dragon Platform. Fish with the ability to cross this platform will transform into heavenly dragons and become the Sect's guardian divine beasts. Congratulations, you have drawn the Sect Building Sky Covering Sword Formation. After throwing a magic weapon into this formation, destroy it and enhance the power of the Sect Protecting Formation. Congratulations, you have won the Sect Building Yantian Tower. When divining inside the tower, you ignore any defensive treasures and will not be condemned by heaven and earth. Congratulations, you have won the Sect's Building 10,000 Scrolls of Scriptures Pavilion, which houses the scriptures of the heaven and earth cultivation techniques. In this pavilion, disciples' understanding has increased by 1000%. When reading, the cultivation techniques can use the divine power of quantum speed reading. Congratulations, you have won the Sect Building Haotian Mountain Gate. To enter this mountain gate, all immortals must kneel and bow down. What's all this? Jiang Yuan clicked 6 times in a row, only to find that all the buildings came out were Sect Gate buildings. He immediately nervously looked around, not wanting to treat such a dilapidated pavilion as a Sect Gate. This building was painted out and he couldn't move it. Fortunately, the system provides timely text reminders. The Sect Building will only be placed after the host selects and confirms the base site, and it has been stored in the system before. That's good, but don't leave the building for now. I haven't even mentioned the location of my sect yet. Jiang Yuan put down the spirit stone in his hand, washed his hands with a water-repellent technique, and then ran to the side of his junior sister to rub her face, ignoring her angry gaze and clicking the lottery button again. This is the lucky draw, hand-washing, skill he summarized in his past life. If he doesn't have the conditions now, he won't take a shower and burn incense. He just needs to absorb the European energy of his junior sister. It has been proven that metaphysics is useful, and the system is no longer based on sectarian architecture. Congratulations, you have drawn the heavenly pill, rebirth and bone transformation pill, from the crossing realm. This pill is made from 5 precious treasures of heaven and earth, and needs to be refined for 749 days to become a pill. Only 1 pill per furnace can greatly enhance the spiritual root qualification. Congratulations, you have drawn the heavenly product pill, rebirth and bone transformation pill, for crossing the tribulation realm. Congratulations, you have drawn the heavenly product pill, rebirth and bone transformation pill, for crossing the tribulation realm. Congratulations, you have drawn the heavenly product pill, rebirth and bone transformation pill, for crossing the tribulation realm. Congratulations, you have drawn the heavenly product pill, rebirth and bone transformation pill, for crossing the tribulation realm. A pill for changing qualifications. Surprisingly, I even drew 5 in a row. Isn't this system really clearing inventory? However, since I have this, it seems that I don't need to pay so much attention to spiritual roots when accepting apprentices in the future. Congratulations, you have drawn the 5 transformations golden pill, from the mortal realm elixir, which can greatly improve your cultivation and also have the effect of living dead people and generating white bones. Congratulations, you have won the 3 talismans cloud seal technique at the level of transforming gods. You can use talismans to enter the Tao and comprehend the Tao by condensing your own life talismans. Your life talismans are a permanent bonus and greatly increase the bonus. You can draw up to 3 life talismans and cultivate them up to the level of transforming gods. Congratulations, you have won the top-grade magic weapon Moon Slaying Sword from Yuanying. Congratulations, you have won the Xuanhuan Tongling Body, a skill that is only seen once in 50 years. Congratulations, you have won the once.in.a. century skill body Infinite Body. Congratulations, you have won the intermediate magic weapon Demon Suppression Tower for transforming gods. Congratulations, you have won the lower grade magic weapon Heart Protection Mirror from the group. Congratulations, you have won 3,600 pieces of Tianpin rune paper. Congratulations, you have drawn an unknown quality guardian spirit beast, random, egg, which can hatch in 981 days. The specific variety is random. Congratulations, you have won that spirit transformation holy body, a skill that is once seen in 100,000 years. Is this a normal lottery? It's really different from the beginner gift package. Jiang Yuan looked at the golden light in front of him, his mouth almost crooked with a smile. Well, wait, does it seem like there's also a skill body that's only seen once in 100,000 years? Wipe, it's shipped. Indeed, touching junior sister is useful. Jiang Yuan eagerly opened the warehouse page. Chapter 8. Inventory of Warehouse. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Opening the warehouse, the originally empty page has been filled up. The 6 sectarian buildings are currently of little use, please do not list them. The rebirth and bone transformation pill. Changing one's qualifications shouldn't be useful for oneself, right? Jiang Yuan looked inside and saw that the area that was supposed to be the spiritual root was now slowly suspended in the form of a panel modifier, which made him a bit unsure whether he was the 5 spirit root or the heavenly spirit root. What if I take a pill and wash off the modifier? It's better to use it for others. Junior sister, open your mouth. Jiang Yuan took out a rebirth pill and popped it into Anran's mouth. Anran obediently opened his mouth, finished eating and even smacked twice before asking, it has a slightly sour taste of lemon. What is that? Before he could finish speaking, he suddenly exclaimed in surprise, my dantian is so hot, it seems like my spiritual roots are about to burn. That's right, this is a good thing. I don't have many pills to improve my qualifications. Jiang Yuan put down the healing pill in his hand and continued to look at the warehouse. Yuanying's top-grade magic weapon, the moon-slaying sword. Jiang Yuan took out the Qinghong sword and the Xuanhuan sword, injected spiritual power, and lightly touched the two swords. The spiritual energy wrapped around the Qinghong sword instantly shattered, and a nail-sized gap appeared on the Qinghong sword. The Yuanying magic weapon does have a better hand feel than the Jianji magic weapon. Jiang Yuan touched the blade of the moon-slaying sword with great fascination. The color, feel, and spiritual power of the sword were high-end goods. Generally speaking, cultivators cannot use magic treasures beyond their level because their spiritual abilities are limited. However, this is not a problem for Jiang Yuan, as he has a lot of spiritual abilities. The Demon Suppression Tower is a small circular pagoda with the ability to intimidate and seal. Upon inspection, Jiang Yuan put it away, which may be useful for collecting pets in the future. The protective goggles are of little use to oneself. No matter how powerful the defense weapon can be, I won't be able to use my infinite health. Jiang Yuan took out his protective goggles and threw them directly to his junior sister. Anren caught the bronze disc and curiously pinched it, asking, "What is this?" "The energy core of the mech." "You forget about the things that told you bedtime stories after listening to them, they are all fabricated," Jiang Yuan explained helplessly. "This is a protective treasure. After you refine it, inject spiritual power and place it in your chest, which can automatically protect you." "It's a bit too big to fit in," and Ran tried to insert the bronze disc into her chest, but to no avail. "I didn't ask you to put it inside your clothes, just hang it outside your Taoist robe." "Oh." Jiang Yuan continues to inspect the warehouse and count the props. The talisman and talisman paper are the same set, both good things, and I will practice them for my junior sister later. I didn't introduce my martial arts skills, so I really don't know what effect it will have. I can only try it out while practicing. Spirit beast eggs. Let's study how to hatch them later. By the way, have you also unlocked new features? Jiang Yuan clicked on the disciple management interface, which currently only includes himself and Anran. Name: Anran. Age: 16. Shoyuan. 153 merit and body. Physical body, mortal fetus spirit root. For spirit roots, upgraded, main cultivation method. Qingxin mantra realm. Qi refining 7 layers position. Disciple at the bottom, there are options to grant physical cultivation, impart techniques, and drive away one's own sect. That's it. System: why isn't there even a display of loyalty on this panel? Jiang Yuan asked in her heart. The system quickly wrote a response. Human hearts cannot be quantified, only puppets and spirit beasts can display specific loyalty. Don't you have any specific talents? For example, my junior sister is quite talented in spells and has no knowledge of alchemy and refining tools. Talent depends on the direction of the sect's cultivation. When using the disciple panel to teach techniques, the techniques will be individually optimized for the disciple, ensuring that they can definitely cultivate the techniques to the highest level. That's why you're so nice. This system assists the host in building the world's strongest sect, which is the basic function. After asking and answering questions with the system, Jiang Yuan also understood why there was no talent issue for various fields. This system believes that the inability of cultivators to comprehend martial arts is a matter of martial arts, not innate talent. Jiang Yuan then opened the store interface, which is another unlocked new feature. The store interface is relatively barren, with only 2 tabs for cultivation and cultivation. There are 3 types of gongti. Once every 10 years, once every 50 years, and once every 100 years. The martial arts are quite rich, including alchemy and refining tools, but the highest one is only the golden elixir technique. But what surprised Jiang Yuan was that the prices of the items sold in this store were calculated using spirit stones. For example, the heavenly talisman spirit body, once seen in a century, is priced at 100 premium spirit stones. Jiang Yuan looked at the upper left corner of the store, where it showed that he already had the number of spirit stones. And the number of spirit stones possessed by Jiang Yuan is 214,748,3648 top.grade spirit stones. Okay, 2 golden fingers and combo, surprisingly it's a 0 yuan purchase. I have to look forward to unlocking store items in the future. After counting the harvest, Jiang Yuan bestowed upon himself the newly drawn spiritual communion, and then continued to play with his spiritual stone. He surrounded the top-grade spirit stone in 2 large circles, and then took out all the heaven and earth spiritual items from the storage ring gifted by Xuanhuan and placed them in the inner circle. Finally, a unique-looking formation was formed. It's quite regrettable that he didn't draw the spirit gathering formation. He doesn't know how to form the formation himself, so he can only arrange the spirit stones and materials according to the appearance of the spirit gathering formation in his memory. He cannot say whether this formation will ultimately have any effect. I am practicing here, and once I break through the foundation, we will go down the mountain to recruit other disciples. Jiang Yuan instructed and ran, just sit here obediently and recuperate, no matter whether someone comes or not, don't worry about me. After thinking for a moment, Jiang Yuan felt uneasy again, so he opened his disciple and clicked on the grant technique. A jade slip named 3 Talismans Cloud Seal Technique, and Ran Edition, appeared in his hand. Jiang Yuan handed the book to Anran and said, try to finish reading it before we go down the mountain, so that you can help me later. Find something to do for your junior sister to avoid her running around. I have been driving infinite blood, infinite spiritual power, and infinite divine soul all along, without the need for anyone to protect me. Anran nodded obediently, took the jade slip, and looked at it. After confirming that everything was ready, Jiang Yuan took a deep breath and sat in the middle of the rudimentary formation. The content of the martial arts has become familiar to his heart. Over the years, he has studied knowledge and skills related to foundation building and alchemy, but due to his qualifications, he has never experienced that feeling. But now it's different. The weak and useless spiritual roots of the 5 elements have become history, and the new modifier spiritual roots have completely surpassed the traditional 5 elements spiritual roots. Moreover, although there is no specific number of spirit roots for the modifier, Jiang Yuan is not worried about its cultivation speed at all. Cultivation rate 1000.0, upper limit, open. Jiang Yuan opened his mouth and gently swallowed his spiritual energy. After a loud roar, the spiritual power of 1,000 miles was immediately siphoned away. Anran raised her head in surprise. In just one breath, Senior Brother's realm has reached the 9th level of Qi refining. Chapter 9. Spiritual Transformation Cultivators. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. According to the foot strength of Qi refining, they should not have gone far. Hua Shen cultivator Gong Fan stretched lazily and walked among the Qinyan mountains. All the raindrops that fell on him evaporated on their own, leaving no trace on his robe. Every time your toes lightly touch the ground, your body will appear 10 miles away. For him, the vast Qinyan mountains only require a pot of tea to leave, but he has been walking among these mountains for a while now, as if searching for something. After a sudden impulse in Qinyan sect, he had little intention of continuing to drink tea as a guest, but instead inquired about what had happened on Qinyan mountain that day. Of course, with his strength, he naturally doesn't need to ask proactively. He just needs to capture a few strands of fresh breeze, and the conversation with the disciples of Qinyan sect will give him the answer. This method is called wind language technique and is an essential divine skill in the 8 trigrams. When he heard the words reincarnation of the great power, betraying the mountain gate, Qi refining period, and waste would counterattack, his soul of gossip had already ignited to the extreme. He really wanted to meet the reincarnation of the great power in this Qi refining period and see what the situation was. Is anyone breaking through? Gong Fan, walking on the road with his hands on his back, suddenly caught the wave of spiritual power. His footsteps paused, but his figure suddenly disappeared. When it reappeared, it was already outside a pavilion. He should be the one who refines the 9th layer of qi. Gong Fan used his divine sense to observe the man and woman inside the pavilion, and then noticed the rudimentary, gathering spirit formation, on the ground, which was somewhat amusing. Formation is the result of a cultivator observing the form of heaven and earth and simulating the power of heaven and earth with spiritual objects. Every point of the formation has strict requirements, and it is a subject that requires long-term understanding and intensive reading to be thoroughly studied. At best, the spirit gathering array in front of us is just a spiritual object waiting to be absorbed on the ground, and it has no effect on gathering spirits. Can this also be considered an ancient superpower? There is no ancient superpower that can't even build a spirit gathering array. I'm afraid studying a 2 or 3 day array would not lead to building such a thing. Sure enough, gossip can only become more and more outrageous as it spreads, and its authenticity is always worth exploring. The so-called counterattack is nothing more than a young disciple picking up 1 or 2 treasures left by a master, and the fact that the treasures are destined for oneself makes oneself feel them. I just don't know if this little brother's treasure is willing to sell for a good price. If the other party is willing to cooperate, I can introduce them to 2 major sects for a day of wandering. Gong Fan found a place to sit inside the pavilion and began to wait for Jiang Yuan's breakthrough to end. He sat next to Enron, who was watching the jade slips wholeheartedly, with one hand resting on it, but Enron was completely unaware. Yo, let me take a look at the technique of transforming the spirit level. After touching the jade slip, Gong Fan became interested, and he wouldn't be fooled by it. He will give this little girl some guidance later. After all, without the explanation from his master, the divine transformation technique would be extremely obscure, just like the fire god technique he practiced himself. His divine sense swaggered into the jade slips, just as he wanted to delve deeper, dang. As if the voice of Hongzhong and de Lv sounded in his mind, it immediately bounced Gong Fan out, and he even broke one of the 4 pillars of the pavilion, flying 20 meters all the way before stopping. What did this jade slip come from? It actually hurt me. Gong Fan's mind shook for a moment, feeling that his brain was about to be shaken. It took him a few seconds to stand up, and sparks immediately burned away the dust and mud on his body. Fortunately, no one saw him make such a fool of himself. What kind of person are you? Enran put away the jade slip and looked at the middle-aged Taoist who suddenly appeared and was bounced out with caution. Cough. Gong Fan awkwardly smiled and walked back to the pavilion with his hands behind his back. Without seeing his movements, the damaged pavilion quickly recovered on its own. He walked back to the pavilion with such a sophisticated demeanor, and then sat down without any hesitation. He said in depth, "My name is Gong Fan, and I am a cultivator who transforms gods. Today, I will calculate with my fingers that I have a chance with you too. I am here to give you a chance." Huashan cultivator, that should be very impressive, and Ran couldn't understand, but senior, I haven't heard of your name. Gong Fan was almost choked and said with a bit of confusion, there are only a few famous cultivators in Fengzhou who can transform into gods. Your master has not mentioned to you which names are people who cannot be provoked. No, master doesn't talk to us about this. He said there's no need to know so much about the qi refining period, just know that the next level is to build a foundation. He also told us that staying on the mountain all the time is very safe. And Ran said honestly and then asked, so, senior, are you famous? It's quite famous. But that's not the point. Gong Fan coughed twice and said, I've decided to give you a fortune. I have traveled to various immortal sects over the years and have some shortcomings. As long as you are willing to hand over the ancient treasures you have found to me, I can entrust you with relationships and send you to the immortal sects. Gong Fan smiled. No way, I have already joined the sect created by senior brother. After senior brother breaks through, we will go to the city to recruit disciples. Xuanhuan refused, and we don't have any ancient treasures at all. Senior, you have found the wrong person. Is it not a wise move for two people to establish a sect? Gong Fan chuckled. I said, even if you are a useless spiritual root, I have confidence. Immediately afterwards, Gong Fan suddenly widened his eyes and said, how can you be the heavenly spirit root? On the path of cultivating immortality, spiritual roots are the most important qualification proof. Those with spiritual roots in the world are already 1 in 100, while those with 3 or more spiritual roots are 1 in 1,000,000. Heavenly spiritual roots are rare talents in the world. There are 12 levels of realms for cultivators in the world, including Qi refining, foundation building, golden elixir, Yuaning, transforming spirit, refining emptiness, combination, Mahayana, crossing calamity, living mortal immortals, living earth immortals, and living true immortals. As long as the heavenly spirit root cultivator is willing to cultivate, they will definitely be able to ascend to the Mahayana and overcome the calamity of immortality before their lifespan expires. So even for large sects with names and surnames in the Lingyan continent, the number of Tianlingyan disciples in each generation is only 100. For small sects like Xianxia sect in remote mountainous areas, it may only be possible to find one Tianlingyan disciple for 1,000 years. This is a seed disciple who will devote all his strength to cultivation. How could he let such a disciple go down the mountain? Even if her senior brother is a mortal, it's just a matter of adding a pair of bowls and chopsticks. This Xianxia sect is really foolish. Heavenly Spirit Root. I am the 4 Spirit Root, and senior brother is the 5 Spirit Root. Xuanhuan shook his head and denied. I have been practicing for thousands of years, and I still have some vision. Gong Fan's figure appeared behind Xuanhuan. Are you called Xuanhuan, right? I want to take you as a disciple. He reached behind Enron's back, wanting to touch the bone again to confirm, but was blocked by a layer of light curtain. With a slight force on his hand, the light curtain was slightly deformed due to compression, but it remained resilient. Gong Fan could not break through this layer of light curtain. A protective treasure that can resist the transformation of gods. How could there be such a thing? Chapter 10. Spiritual Communion. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text.